Gandalf's hidden battle for Frodo. As the shadow of evil began to rise in Middle-earth, a single fragile light burned in the hands of a hobbit. Frodo Baggins, chosen to bear the One Ring, was the heart of the Fellowship's mission. Yet behind every step he took and every battle the Fellowship faced, there was another struggle, one waged in secret by Gandalf the Grey. It was a silent war, fought not just against enemies in the physical realm, but against ancient and unseen forces that sought to extinguish the light of hope altogether. Gandalf's journey was far more than that of a mentor or protector. It was a spiritual and emotional battle to shield Frodo from an encroaching darkness. This tale reveals the hidden sacrifices he made to ensure the ring-bearer's survival and the eventual triumph of good over evil. The Prophecy of Shadows. The fires of Rivendell cast flickering shadows across the ancient halls as Gandalf paced, his mind heavy with unease. Among the scrolls of Elrond's vast library, a single fragile scrap of parchment had caught his attention decades ago, a prophecy from the Elder Days. The words returned to him now, haunting and relentless. When the bearer of light walks the path of shadows, a force unseen will rise to meet him. At the time, he had dismissed it as a relic of the past. But as Frodo was chosen to carry the One Ring, the prophecy felt less like a distant echo and more like a promise come to life. The visions that plagued Gandalf in the quiet hours spoke of shadows creeping ever closer to Frodo, forces beyond the grasp of mortal understanding. Despite his wisdom, he hesitated to share his fears. The Fellowship needed courage, not doubt, and Frodo could not know of the dangers lurking just beyond his perception. Elrond, sensing the weight of his thoughts, offered a quiet warning. Do not let Frodo see the burden you carry, lest his strength falter. And so Gandalf resolved to fight this battle alone. The Ward of Protection. While the others rested in Rivendell, he returned to the oldest texts, searching for answers. At last, he found a spell, a ward that could shield Frodo from prying eyes. The incantation required immense power, drawing directly from Gandalf's own spirit. Alone in a candlelit chamber, he began the ritual, his voice low and steady as he spoke ancient words of protection. The magic settled over Frodo like an invisible cloak, dimming his presence to the eyes of the unseen. But the cost was steep. As he whispered the final syllables, his strength wavered, and a cold voice hissed in the shadows. I see you. Gandalf collapsed, his vision swimming with darkness. Though the ward held, the force behind the whisper lingered, watching, waiting. Shadows in Moria. Moria was a tomb, silent and oppressive. As the Fellowship ventured through its vast halls, he felt the weight of an ancient malice pressing against him. The darkness here was alive, coiling like smoke in the corners of his vision. Frodo, though brave, seemed to sense it too. His eyes darted to the shadows, his steps tentative. He understood this darkness was drawn not to Moria itself, but to Frodo and the ring. As the Fellowship moved, he cast protective wards at every opportunity, whispering words of power that dissolved into the ether. Yet each incantation drew a response, a pricking at the edge of his mind, a force pushing back. The closer they drew to the heart of Moria, the stronger this presence became. It sought to unnerve Gandalf, to weaken his will. But he was resolute, gripping his staff tightly as he walked the thin line between vigilance and despair. The Balrog's true purpose. The Bridge of Khazad-dûm was no coincidence. The Balrog, a creature of flame and shadow, had been waiting. As it loomed before the Fellowship, its fiery eyes met him, and he understood. This was a weapon of the unseen force, sent to destroy him and weaken Frodo's defenses. With unwavering resolve, he stepped forward. You shall not pass, he declared, summoning every ounce of power to hold the creature at bay. The battle was fierce. Each strike of the Balrog's whip tested Gandalf's limits, not just physically, but spiritually. The creature's intent was clear. It sought not only to kill, but to extinguish the light he carried. As he shattered the bridge beneath the Balrog, he fell into the abyss. In his final moments, he whispered a blessing, his thoughts fixed on Frodo. Between life and death. The fall seemed endless. descent into a realm neither living nor dead. Shadows surrounded him, whispering of failure. They showed him visions of Frodo succumbing to despair, of the ring returning to Sauron, of the Fellowship broken. These were not mere illusions. They were fragments of an ancient malice seeking to pull Gandalf under. Just as his resolve began to waver, a brilliant light pierced the darkness. A figure of immense radiance of valor appeared, their voice calm yet commanding. "Your task is not finished, Gandalf," they intoned. "Middle-earth's hope rests on your return." Offered a choice between peace and renewed strength, Gandalf chose without hesitation. In a flash of light, he was reborn Gandalf the White, charged with a greater purpose. The return of Gandalf the White. When he returned to the world, he was transformed. His robes gleamed with unearthly brilliance, his power a reflection of his unyielding resolve. But with this newfound strength came a sharper awareness of the darkness that still lingered. The unseen force had not relented. It hunted Frodo with growing intensity, feeding on doubt and despair. He felt its presence like a distant storm cloud, and he knew time was running out. Rohan and the growing shadow. Gandalf's path led him to Rohan, where Saruman's treachery had taken root. The land was muted, its people weighed down by fear. In Edoras, Gandalf confronted Wormtongue, a servant of Saruman who had poisoned King Theoden's mind. With a single strike of his staff, Gandalf shattered the enchantment. Theoden was restored, his strength and spirit returning. Yet he sensed a deeper connection between Saruman's actions and the unseen force. This was not mere ambition, it was part of a grander scheme to weaken Middle-earth from within. The Fellowship reunited. As he rejoined Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, he saw the toll their journey had taken. Their battles against orcs and the unrelenting dread that followed them mirrored his own struggles. He warned them of the ancient force pursuing Frodo, a shadow older than Sauron. "Frodo carries more than the fate of Middle-earth," Gandalf said. "He carries the last hope of all free beings." Together they resolved to press on, knowing the stakes had never been higher. The final struggle. Gandalf's vigilance never wavered. Even as Frodo and Sam ventured closer to Mordor, Gandalf's thoughts remained with them. He reached out across the vast distances with his mind, bolstering Frodo's courage as best he could. In the end, it was Frodo's strength, guided by him unseen hand, that ensured the ring's destruction. But the battle had not been won without cost. Gandalf's spirit bore the scars of his sacrifices, and Frodo's heart carried the weight of his journey. As the Fellowship returned from the shores of the Undying Lands, the scars of war remained, yet hope blossomed in Middle-earth. Frodo found solace in the Shire, though the echoes of his journey lingered. Gandalf, too, carried the memories of their struggle. He had fought battles no one else could see, standing as a guardian of light against a tide of darkness. As the sun set on the Shire, he whispered a silent promise, to watch over Middle-earth for as long as the wheel of time turned. His tale, a testament to sacrifice and resilience, would inspire generations to come. Though the shadows may return, his light woven from courage, love, and friendship will never be extinguished. If you enjoyed this journey into the unseen corners of Middle-earth, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more incredible tales from Hidden Kingdoms. Let us know your favorite Gandalf moment in the comments below. Until next time, may the light guide you through every shadow.